The days following the trader's departure were filled with hope and renewal. The Vrathi settlement began to feel alive in a way it had not before. People laughed more freely, and the glow from the crystal gardens seemed brighter than ever. Captain. Ilara Morgan stood on the steps of the great council hall, watching the citizens of Xylora move about their daily lives. She thought about everything that had happened since she arrived. A human stranger stepping onto a strange world, facing impossible trials, and now standing as a symbol of peace. The new Council of Humans and Vrathi had begun their work in earnest. Meetings were held regularly, with representatives from both worlds sharing ideas and solving problems together. Ilara noticed how the two peoples, once wary of each other, now worked side by side. They learned from each other, shared stories, and built trust. It was slow work, but every step forward was important. Lyra, always by Ilara's side, laughed one morning as they prepared for a meeting. "I never thought I would see a human and a Vrathi become such good friends." Ilara smiled. "It is the power of understanding." Yet even in this time of hope, challenges remained. One morning, a message arrived from Earth. It was from the United Earth Council, the leaders of humanity's government. They were watching the progress on Xylora closely. The message was clear. "Captain Morgan, your work is important, but the galaxy is vast and full of danger. We advise caution and readiness." Ilara read the message carefully. She knew the universe was unpredictable, and peace could be fragile. She shared the message with Zealand and the Council. Together, they discussed how to prepare their worlds for any future challenges. Meanwhile, Ilara continued to learn more about the Vrathi culture. One tradition she found fascinating was the Ceremony of Light, a celebration held once every cycle of the twin moons. During the ceremony, the Vrathi would gather in the crystal gardens, lighting thousands of small lanterns that floated gently into the night sky. It was a time of reflection, hope, and unity. Ilara was invited to participate. On the night of the ceremony, Ilara stood with Lyra and the others in the garden. The air was filled with soft music, and the glow from the lanterns lit the faces of the gathering crowd. Ilara held a lantern in her hands. She thought about the journey that had brought her here, the trials, the challenges, and the friendships. As she released the lantern into the sky, she made a silent promise to continue working for peace, no matter what lay ahead. The lantern floated higher and higher, joining hundreds of others in the sky, a shining symbol of hope. The following days were peaceful but busy. The new council worked on projects to improve life on Xylora. Human technology helped the Vrathi farmers grow more food, while Vrathi energy crystals powered new medical devices. Ilara found joy in the small successes, the smile of a child, the laughter of a family, the look of pride in a warrior's eyes. One afternoon, a message came from a distant star system. It was a call for help. A small colony on a nearby planet was under threat from pirates, dangerous groups who attacked without warning. Ilara knew this was a test of their new alliance. Could humans and Vrathi stand together in the face of danger? She called a meeting of the council. "We must help," she said firmly. "We cannot build peace by ignoring those who suffer." Xylan nodded. "We will send a team together, Vrathi warriors and human soldiers, united." The team prepared quickly. Ilara led the group, feeling the weight of responsibility but also the strength of unity. As their ship left Xylora's orbit, Ilara looked back at the glowing world she had come to love. They traveled through the stars, ready to face whatever challenges awaited. When they arrived at the colony, the situation was worse than they expected. The pirates had damaged buildings and taken supplies, but the team did not hesitate. Working together, the humans and Vrathi planned carefully. The warriors shared their knowledge of tactics and strength, while humans used their technology and strategy. Ilara coordinated the effort with calm determination. The pirates returned, expecting an easy target. Instead, they found a united force, strong and prepared. The battle was intense but brief. The team's teamwork overwhelmed the pirates, forcing them to retreat. The colony was saved. The people of the colony cheered. They welcomed the team as heroes. Ilara felt proud, not just of the victory, but of what it meant. Humans and Vrathi, once strangers, now stood together to protect peace and justice. Back on Xylora, the victory strengthened the Council's work. More Vrathi and humans joined the alliance, inspired by what had been achieved. Ilara's smile grew brighter. One evening, as the twin moons rose once more, Ilara stood with Lyra and the Council. They looked out over the settlement, glowing softly in the night. Xylan spoke, his voice filled with hope. "Captain Morgan, you have brought more than peace. You have brought friendship and trust between our peoples." Ilara nodded. "And together, we will face whatever the future holds." The stars shone above, a reminder that the universe was vast and full of possibility. But here on Xylora, under the twin moons, a new dawn had begun. The human who had survived, the bed of endurance, the trial of mind and spirit, and the storms of the planet had become a symbol of hope, unity, and the power of friendship. Ilara smiled, feeling the warmth of that promise. No alien could survive her bed, and she had walked out smiling. But more than that, she had shown that the human spirit was strong enough to build bridges across the stars. The galaxy had always been a place of careful balance. Powerful alien empires ruled their territories with strong fleets, advanced technology, and centuries of tradition. For many years, peace held between these factions, but it was a peace that always felt fragile, like a thin glass ready to shatter. In the far edge of this vast galaxy, there was a small mining planet called Varkon 5. It was a rocky world with harsh weather and valuable minerals beneath its surface. Several alien empires claimed ownership of the planet, but none had settled there in force. The mining rights were given to smaller groups that worked independently. Among those groups was a small colony of humans. They had arrived just a few decades ago, seeking new resources and opportunities. The humans were not many in number, but they worked hard, building mining stations and sending raw materials back to Earth and other human colonies. The aliens around them did not think much of these humans. To them, humans were rough and primitive, lacking the high technology or military strength of the great empires. Many in the galaxy saw humanity as an unimportant species, not worth their time. But things were about to change. One quiet day on Varkon 5, the peaceful mining operation was suddenly broken by a group of heavily armed ships. They belonged to the Zeltron Dominion, a proud and powerful empire known for strict control and strong military. The Zeltron sent a clear message: the humans had no right to mine on Varkon 5. They ordered the humans to stop immediately and leave the planet. The human leader, Captain Sarah Jensen, stood firm. She was a woman known for her calm but determined attitude. "No," she said firmly to the Zeltron commander over the comlink. "We have legal rights to this sector, and we will not leave without a fight." The Zeltron commander laughed, his voice cold and dismissive. "You are weak. We are the Zeltron Dominion. Leave now, or face destruction." Sarah looked out over Ayr, the mining base. Around her, human workers prepared defenses, knowing a fight was coming. Despite being outgunned, the humans would not back down. The first shots were fired at dawn. The Zeltron ships opened fire on the human outposts, trying to destroy the mining equipment and force the humans to retreat. But the humans were ready. Their ships were smaller and fewer, but their crews were clever and quick to react. Sarah had spent months training her people in defensive tactics, using the planet's terrain to their advantage. The humans hid their ships among rocky canyons and used smaller, fast fighters to surprise the Zeltron forces. The Zeltrons expected an easy victory, but the humans surprised them with unexpected strength. The human fighters darted in and out, hitting hard where the Zeltrons least expected it. Back on the Zeltron flagship, Commander Vrax was frustrated. He could not understand how a group of humans could stand up to the Dominion's might. "These creatures are nothing," he growled. "Why do they fight so fiercely?" His advisors warned him to be careful. "The humans are dangerous because they are unpredictable," one said. "They use their minds and courage, not just technology." Commander Vrax sneered. Unpredictable or not, they will fall. Send in the heavy weapons. Meanwhile, on the ground, human engineers worked around the clock to repair damaged equipment and build stronger defenses. They used whatever resources they could find and made clever modifications to their ships and weapons. Sarah moved among her people, encouraging them. "We can do this," she said. "We fight not just for this planet, but for our future in the stars." Her words inspired the humans. Despite their fear and exhaustion, they kept fighting. The battle continued for days. The humans fought with determination, refusing to give up. They made bold moves, attacking Zeltron supply lines and disrupting their formations. The galaxy began to notice the conflict. News reports spread about how a small group of humans was standing strong against the mighty Zeltron dominion. Some alien leaders were surprised, others were curious. One such leader was Admiral Krell, a respected commander from the Orcs Alliance, a coalition of several smaller alien worlds. He watched the human fight with growing respect. "They are not what we thought," Krell said to his officers. "They have spirit. If they continue like this, they will change the balance of power." Back on Varkon 5, tensions grew. The Zeltron Dominion escalated their attacks, bringing in more ships and using advanced weapons. The humans suffered losses, but each time they adapted and fought back harder. Sarah knew the war was just beginning. "This is not just a fight for a planet," she said. "This is a fight for humanity's place in the galaxy." She looked up at the stars and wondered what the future held. Would the galaxy accept humans as equals? Or would they be crushed by the greater powers? Only time would tell. As the battle raged, something else was happening. Other alien empires watching from the sidelines started to reconsider their views on humanity. The once dismissive whispers became questions. Who are these humans? How can they fight so fiercely? Are they a new force to be reckoned with? Some feared the answer. The humans on Varkon 5 were tired, but their will was unbroken. They had faced an empire and held their ground. The spark of conflict had lit a fire that would soon spread across the galaxy, and humanity was ready. The war on Varkon 5 had shaken the galaxy. No one had expected the humans to fight so fiercely against the mighty Zeltron Dominion. The news spread fast, reaching every corner of space. Back on Varkon 5, Captain Sarah Jensen knew this was only the beginning. The Zeltrons would not give up easily. Their pride would demand more power, more ships, and more destruction to crush the humans once and for all. But Sarah believed in one thing. Humans were not just tough. They were smart. The Zeltron Dominion regrouped after their first failures. Commander Vrax was furious. His massive fleet hovered over the planet, blocking all trade and supply lines. They wanted to starve the humans into submission. But the humans had a secret weapon: adaptability. Sarah and her engineers worked day and night, transforming old mining ships into quick fighters. They used scrap metal and spare parts to create powerful new weapons. The miners became soldiers, the scientists became inventors. One of the humans' best minds, Dr. Liam Ortega, was at the center of this change. He was a quiet man, but his ideas were bold. He had created a new type of energy shield that could protect ships from heavy fire for short bursts. It was not perfect, but it saved lives. The Zeltron fleet advanced again, ready to crush the resistance. This time they faced a different kind of human force. The battle was fierce. The Zeltrons fired their heavy weapons, but many shots bounced off the new energy shields. Human fighters zipped between larger ships, using hit-and-run tactics. They attacked supply convoys and communication satellites, cutting off the Zeltrons' ability to coordinate. Commander Vrax grew more frustrated. "These humans fight like wild animals," he spat. "We cannot break their spirit." His officers warned him that the longer the war lasted, the more unpredictable the humans became. But Vrax was proud and stubborn. He believed sheer power would win the day. Sarah watched the battle from the command center of the main human base. Around her, the humans were tired but determined. Every victory came at a cost, but they learned fast. She remembered a conversation from her childhood on Earth. Her father once told her, "The greatest weapon humans have is their mind. No matter how strong an enemy is, smart people will find a way." Sarah believed those words now more than ever. One day, during a risky mission, a human pilot named Rina Mbeki led a small group deep into the Zeltran lines. Their goal was simple, but dangerous: destroy a key communication relay that controlled Zeltron fleet movements. Rina's fighter was small and fast. She flew low through asteroid fields, avoiding detection. Her team worked perfectly, attacking and retreating before the Zeltrans could respond. The mission was a success. The relay was destroyed and the Zeltran fleet was thrown into chaos. For the first time, the humans gained a real advantage. The Zeltrans scrambled to fix their communications, but the damage was done. Human fighters took full advantage of the confusion, hitting supply ships and isolating enemy groups. Across the galaxy, the story of the battle spread. Humans were no longer seen as weak or disorganized. They were clever, brave, and relentless. Admiral Krell of the Orinth Alliance watched these events carefully. His mind turned to possibilities. If humans could fight like this against the Zeltrans, what might they do in a larger war? Could they become a powerful new force? Meanwhile, tensions on Varkon 5 grew. The Zeltran Dominion sent more ships and better weapons, determined to crush the humans before they could grow stronger. But the humans had one more advantage: their people. Every miner, engineer, and soldier on Varkon 5 worked together. They shared food, shelter, and stories. Their hope and courage were as strong as their weapons. Sarah often visited the front lines to meet the fighters and workers. She listened to their fears and hopes. She reminded them why they fought, not just for Varkon 5, but for all humanity's future among the stars. As the war continued, the humans developed new strategies. They used the planet's rough landscape to hide their bases. They set traps in the canyons and used stealth technology to surprise the enemy. One of their greatest successes came from an idea by Dr. Ortega. He designed a system to jam Zeltron sensors during attacks, making human ships nearly invisible for short periods. This invention gave the humans a crucial edge. They could strike quickly, disappear, and leave the enemy confused. But the Zeltrans were not the only ones watching. Other alien powers began to see humanity in a new light. The once quiet whispers of primitive humans turned into cautious conversations about respect and fear. Some aliens admired the humans' courage. Others worried about what might happen if humans grew stronger. In secret, several empires began sending spies and diplomats to learn more about humanity's growing power. Back on Varkon 5, the human forces prepared for another big attack. Commander Siu. Vrax had ordered a full-scale assault. He believed this would be the final battle. Sarah knew it would be the hardest fight yet. She gathered her leaders and spoke quietly but firmly. "They want to end this now," she said, "but we are ready. We have the courage, the minds, and the will to win. We fight not just for ourselves, but for all who believe in a better future." Her words strengthened the resolve of every person in the room. The battle began before dawn. The sky was filled with the thunder of weapons and the flash of explosions. The Zeltrans unleashed everything they had, but the humans fought with skill and heart. Their new tactics and technology slowed the enemy advance. Human pilots flew with precision and bravery, knowing the fate of their home was at stake. Rina Mbeki led a daring squadron through the chaos. She pushed her ship to its limits, attacking key enemy vessels and saving her teammates. The human ground forces also held strong, defending mining bases and repair stations with fierce determination. As the sun rose, the tide of battle began to turn. The Zeltran fleet, exhausted and confused by the humans' new tactics, started to fall back. Their ships were damaged, their crews tired and demoralized. Commander Vrax's pride was shattered. He had underestimated the humans, and now his empire faced a humiliating defeat. In the command center, Sarah allowed herself a moment to breathe. She looked at her tired but smiling team. They had done the impossible. Against all odds, they had pushed back a powerful enemy. But she knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was watching, and soon, humanity's fight would grow larger and more dangerous. Still, for now, on this small planet at the edge of the galaxy, humanity had turned the tide, and the galaxy would never forget. The war on Varkon 5 had become something much bigger than anyone expected. What began as a small conflict over a mining planet had now turned into a brutal struggle that shook the galaxy. The Zeltron Dominion, humiliated by their recent defeat, was not ready to give up. They sent their strongest warships and deadliest weapons, determined to crush humanity once and for all. Captain Sarah Jensen stood on the command bridge of the human flagship, the Resolute. Her eyes scanned the star-filled sky where the massive Zeltron fleet gathered like a storm. She knew this battle would be the hardest they had ever faced. The Zeltrons had learned from their mistakes. They were better prepared, more aggressive, and more dangerous, yet Sarah felt no fear. Instead, she felt the fierce pride of her people, the humans who refused to back down, no matter the cost. "We fight not just for this planet," Sarah told her crew, her voice steady. "We fight for all humanity's future. We will show the galaxy what it means to face a human." The Zeltron fleet moved quickly, surrounding Varkon 5. Their ships fired massive energy blasts, lighting up the dark sky with deadly power. The humans responded with everything they had. Their smaller ships darted through the shadows, using the planet's rough terrain to hide. Human fighters launched surprise attacks on Zeltron supply lines and warships. Dr. Liam Ortega's energy shields held strong, protecting human ships from devastating blows. The humans fought with a mix of courage, strategy, and new technology. The battle was brutal. Explosions shook the space above Varkon 5 as ships collided and weapons roared. The sky was filled with streaks of fire and smoke. Both sides suffered heavy losses. Despite the damage, the humans refused to retreat. Ground teams repaired damaged stations while fighters continued the fight. Human soldiers worked side by side with miners and engineers, united by a common goal. Commander Vrax watched helplessly as his once confident fleet began to falter. His ships were hit by unexpected attacks from the ground and space. "They fight with the heart of warriors," he admitted to his officers. "They do not fear death. We must be ruthless to win." In desperation, Vrax ordered his commanders to unleash their secret weapon, a massive energy cannon hidden deep inside their flagship. It was a weapon capable of destroying entire cities. In a single blast, Sarah learned about the weapon quickly through intercepted communications. She gathered her top officers. "We cannot let that weapon fire," she said urgently. "If it fires, Varkon 5 and everyone on it will be destroyed." The humans planned a risky mission. A small team would sneak aboard the Zeltron flagship and disable the weapon before it could fire. The mission was led by Rena Mbeki, the skilled pilot who had destroyed the communication relay. Alongside her were engineers and soldiers trained for stealth and sabotage. Their small fleet approached the massive Zeltron ship under the cover of a solar storm. The storm's energy scrambled enemy sensors, giving the humans a brief window to act. Rena's heart pounded as her ship docked silently. The team moved quickly through dark corridors, avoiding patrols and security systems. Inside the ship, the humans found a maze of corridors and chambers. The air was cold and quiet, filled with the hum of engines and distant alarms. They reached the weapon chamber, a massive room filled with glowing energy crystals and complex machinery. Dr. Ortega took the lead, working swiftly to disable the cannon's power source. Every second counted as alarms began to sound. Suddenly, Zeltron guards appeared, and a fierce fight broke out. The humans fought with determination, their mission clear. In the end, the team succeeded. The energy cannon powered down, its glow fading to darkness. Rena's group escaped just as the Zeltron ship began to reactivate security protocols. They returned to the Resolute, heroes of the battle. Back in space, the Zeltron fleet launched one last desperate attack, but the humans, inspired by the bravery of their team, fought with renewed strength. Human fighters led bold charges, breaking through enemy lines. Ground teams used newly built defenses to protect vital areas. The Zeltron fleet began to retreat, their ships damaged and crews exhausted. The brutal clash had ended. Humanity had survived against one of the galaxy's greatest powers, but the cost was high. On Varkon 5, the survivors mourned their lost friends but celebrated their victory. Sarah addressed her people. "This war has tested us all," she said. "We have proven that humans are not weak. We have shown the galaxy that our spirit is unbreakable." The humans looked up at the stars, knowing the galaxy would never forget their fight. Meanwhile, far from the battlefield, the news of humanity's strength spread quickly. Alien empires who once ignored or underestimated humans now watched with growing respect and caution. Admiral Krell of the Orinth Alliance sent a message to his leaders. Humans are no longer a small power. They are a force to be reckoned with. Other empires began to prepare, realizing that humanity might change the galaxy forever. Sarah and her crew knew the war was far from over. But for the first time, humanity stood tall among the stars. They had survived the brutal clash, and now the galaxy trembled at the name of humanity. After the brutal clash on Varkon 5, the galaxy could no longer ignore humanity. The once dismissed species had proved their strength and courage against the mighty Zeltron Dominion. But this was only the beginning of a larger war, one that would change the fate of many worlds. Captain Sarah Jensen stood on the deck of the human flagship, the Resolute, staring out at the stars. The battle had been won, but the cost weighed heavy on her mind. Many brave men and women had given their lives for humanity's future. Still, Sarah knew that victory in one battle did not guarantee the war's end. The Zeltron Dominion was beaten, but not broken. They were gathering new forces, preparing to strike back harder than ever before. Sarah's advisors had brought her troubling news. Several alien empires, once neutral or distant, were now watching humans closely. Some were sending spies to learn about human technology and tactics. Others whispered alliances and secret plans. In a secure room aboard the Resolute, Sarah met with her top commanders. Among them was Dr. Liam Ortega, the scientist whose inventions had saved many lives, and Rena Mbeki, the fearless pilot who had led dangerous missions deep into enemy territory. "We have information that the Zeltron are building a massive new fleet," Dr. Ortega said, pointing to a holographic map of the galaxy. "If they finish it, they could destroy us and reclaim Varkon 5, Rena added. "We can't wait for them to attack again. We need to act first." Sarah nodded. "Then, we will strike at the heart of their power, their main shipyards and command centers. We must end this war quickly and decisively." Planning the attack was difficult. The Zeltron Dominion's main bases were heavily guarded, deep within their own space. To reach them, humans would need to cross dangerous enemy territory. But humanity had something the Zeltrons did not: courage and unity. The human fleet prepared quietly. Ships were upgraded, weapons enhanced, and crews trained for the hardest mission yet. Sarah addressed the fleet. "We go into the enemy's home. It will be dangerous, but we fight for all humanity. We fight for peace." Her words inspired everyone. For the first time, humans were not just defending their homes, they were taking the fight to their enemy. The journey to the Zeltron homeworld was long and tense. The fleet moved carefully through space, avoiding patrols and traps. Rena led the scouting teams, flying ahead to find the safest paths and spot enemy forces. "We're close," she said during one briefing. "But the Zeltron know we are coming. They will not make this easy." Sarah nodded. "We must be ready for anything." As they neared the Zeltron system, the humans found the defenses stronger than expected. Massive space stations armed with powerful weapons surrounded the planet. The Zeltrons had learned from their earlier defeats. They were prepared to fight to the last ship. The battle began with sudden fury. The Zeltron stations fired everything they had, trying to stop the human fleet from entering orbit. The humans responded with determination and skill. Their new energy shields protected key ships from heavy fire. Human fighters moved with speed and precision, taking out enemy turrets and disrupting communications. On the ground, human teams prepared for a different battle. The plan was to send special units to infiltrate the main command center and disable defenses from inside. Sarah watched as her fleet fought hard in space. But she knew the battle was far from over. The infiltration team was led by Rena Mbeki and a group of elite soldiers. They used stealth ships to slip past enemy defenses and land near the command center. Inside, the team moved quietly through dark corridors. They encountered patrols and security drones but avoided detection with skill and caution. Rena felt her heart race. This mission was risky, but if they succeeded, they could turn the tide of the entire war. Suddenly, alarms blared through the command center. The Zeltrons had detected the intruders. Fighting broke out. The human team used their training and teamwork to hold off the enemy while moving toward the central control room. Dr. Ortega, who had joined the mission to help disable systems, worked quickly to shut down energy barriers and communication networks. Outside, in space, the battle grew more intense. Commander Vrax, now desperate and furious, sent wave after wave of ships to attack the human fleet. But the humans held their ground. They used every weapon and tactic they had learned. The sky above the Zeltron homeworld was filled with fire and smoke. Back inside the command center, the human team reached their goal. They planted explosives to destroy key systems and prepare for a retreat. Rena gave the order to fall back. "We've done what we came to do. Time to leave." The team fought their way back through enemy forces, escaping just as the explosives detonated, causing chaos throughout the Zeltron command. The damage was significant. With their systems down and defenses weakened, the Zeltron fleet lost coordination. The human fleet seized the opportunity to push forward, attacking key targets and forcing the enemy to retreat. Sarah watched as the Zeltron forces withdrew. It was a hard-fought victory, but one that would change the war. The galaxy was watching closely now. The humans had shown they could strike deep into enemy territory and survive. Admiral Krell of the Orinth Alliance sent a message to the Galactic Council. "Humans have become a major power. We must prepare for their rise." Other empires began to reconsider their positions. Some started sending envoys to negotiate with humanity. Others quietly built their own fleets in fear of what might come. Back on the Resolute, Sarah gathered her leaders once more. "This war has taken much from us," she said quietly, "but we have shown the galaxy that humanity will not be pushed aside. We fight for peace, but we will not back down." Dr. Ortega added, "Our technology and spirit have given us strength, but we must continue to innovate and unite." Rena smiled. "We've come far, but the galaxy still has many challenges ahead." Sarah looked out at the stars. The war was far from over, but humanity had reached a turning point. They had moved from defenders to warriors who shaped their own destiny. Galaxy trembled not only because of humanity's power, but because of their unbreakable will.